Another day, another game trying to claim the crown of best non-From Software action RPG. But does this latest title have the juice? Here's everything to know about Black Myth Wukong. Black Myth Wukong is inspired by the Chinese novel Journey to the West, originally published in the 16th century. The game has players take on the role of one of the story's protagonists, Sun Wukong, who in the game is referred to as the Destined One. In Journey to the West, Sun Wukong is a mythical monkey-man hybrid and is a part of a group in search of the Tao, the ultimate form of spiritual enlightenment. It's a sweeping epic that combines a ton of Chinese folklore. At this point, it's unclear how closely the game's story will stick to the novel, although it seems developer Game Science will be taking certain liberties with the story, particularly as Wukong travels with a group in the novel, sharing the spotlight with 3 other characters, while from what we've seen of the game so far, his journey seems relatively solitary. That being said, a bunch of details in the game do seem to be ripped right out of the pages of Journey to the West, such as Wukong's staff that can shrink to the size of a needle and be stored in his ear. Ew. Black Myth Wukong is being developed by Chinese studio Game Science, founded by several former Tencent employees in 2014. The game was first pitched by the studio's art director Yang Qi in 2016, but was shelved until after the release of the studio's RTS title, Art of War: Red Tides. While development on Wukong began in 2017, the studio struggled to accrue the new talent it needed to bring its vision to life. However, after several gameplay trailers, the game garnered massive interest in China, with a flood of developers looking to join the studio. This ultimately led to Tencent itself providing funding for the game in 2021, the same year that the title moved over from Unreal Engine 4 to UE5 for development. It should be noted that allegations against Game Science have surfaced over the years via reports of the developer fostering a sexist culture and work environment, with numerous women in the Chinese gaming community highlighting these problems within the studio, as well as backlash following crude and controversial social media posts by Game Science co-founder Zhi Feng. As of this recording, Game Science has repeatedly refused to comment on the allegations, although it has removed some of the offensive wording in its marketing materials that has contributed to the misogynistic culture. Further details on these allegations can be found at a link in the description. While Black Myth Wukong seemingly shares a lot of DNA with Souls-like games, Game Science itself does not consider it a Souls-like. In spite of that, the game features many staples of the action RPG subgenre, such as bonfire-like checkpoints that respawn enemies in the area around you, a flask for healing that has a finite number of charges and refills when you rest at a checkpoint, and upgrade points that are dropped and have to be recovered after death. Wukong's primary tool for walloping enemies is his staff, but you'll unlock additional stances over the course of Black Myth that give you different combos and movesets. At the start, however, you have a limited number of moves and abilities, namely a light attack and a heavier attack you can link together into combos. Light attacks and dodging build up a focus meter, while heavy attacks consume focus. Dodging also depletes a stamina gauge that recharges quickly when you stop moving, and if you time the dodge perfectly to avoid an incoming strike, time slows a bit and you leave an after image of the Destined One where you just were. Black Myth also adds another wrinkle in the form of spells you can fire off in the midst of battle, such as the ability to briefly immobilize an enemy mid-motion, opening them up for attack. However, spells not only have cooldown timers, but are also controlled by a sort of mana meter that refills like your health flask whenever you rest. Souls-like. Black Myth Wukong is structured fairly linearly, although the game will feature a mix of focused corridors and larger, more open and explorable areas. And after facing off against some of the game's bosses, you'll sometimes be able to claim their weapon, giving you the ability to use it in a fight, transforming Wukong into the enemy you previously defeated. Transforming into a different character comes with its own health bar, separate from the one you're using and healing normally. How long the transformation lasts is dictated either by health or by doing too many cool moves, with your light and heavy attacks depleting a meter called might at different rates. When either meter runs out, you transform back into Wukong. Bosses can also have numerous phases, but rather than entering a new phase based on the damage dealt to them, bosses will switch up phases based on how well the player is doing against them. Black Myth Wukong will release on PC and PlayStation 5 on August 20th, 2024 for $60. The game is meant to eventually come to Xbox Series X and S, however, there is no date currently for those platforms, with that version of the game having been announced to be delayed during this year's Summer Game Fest. No reason was given for the Xbox delay, although it could potentially have to do with limitations around the Series S console, an issue that has plagued other titles such as Baldur's Gate 3. Black Myth Wukong is also a digital-only game. No physical version of the game is available. Pre-ordering the game will give the player an alternate colorway for their health cord. Beyond the base edition of the game, there are 3 additional iterations that come with additional items. The digital deluxe edition of the game that retails for $70 includes a digital soundtrack, as well as additional weapons and gear for Wukong to adorn. The deluxe edition of the game that retails for $170 contains everything the digital deluxe does, but with some physical goodies too, although the steelbook case, as previously mentioned, has no disc, just a code for the game. The collector's edition of the game retails for an eye-watering $400, and its centerpiece item is a statue of Wukong. It should be noted that the latter 2 editions of the game with physical items include PC codes only. If you're planning to play on PS5, your only options are the base and digital deluxe editions. And that is everything you need to know about Black Myth Wukong. For more on the game, including our eventual review and guide videos, stick right here on GameSpot.